everybody. Welcome to the Newbie Real Estate Investors Podcast. My name is Joey Chan. It's my co-host, Jonathan Boyle. And today we have a very special guest for you guys, Mr. Chuck Kohout.
Hi, newbies.
Welcome to the show, Chuck.
Thanks, John.
Awesome. So Chuck, I guess we'll just dive right into this. How'd you get started in real estate?
I got really tired of working. I knew I always wanted to be an investor. I can't really stand working for somebody else. So I decided to try my hand at investing. For a while I was playing around with penny stocks. I managed to lose 80 grand in a day, which was like everything that I had because I forgot to put in a stop loss when I was doing something for my boss's business. And I started to look back on it and I was like, wow, it took me 4 years to save this 80 grand. I'm broke now. It's going to take me another 4 years. I'll be like almost 30. I'm just going to cowboy up and quit. And I was bodybuilding at the same time. I was in shape. I figured, all right, I'll give it one more year. And I just digested audiobooks on real estate during 90-minute cardio sessions on the treadmill like my life depended on it. I went to the Learning Annex's Real Estate Wealth Expo. I watched a bunch of different strategies. I found a couple that I felt worked with my personality, because I don't read, write, spell, or do math that well. And I wrote my letter of resignation and told myself, if I've got the same 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year like everybody else, and I can't do this, I don't deserve to fucking live. So I committed. 20 days later, I did my first assignment and made 20 grand and the world looked different.
Nice. How long ago was this?
This would have been 2004.
2004. Okay. Wow.
Nice. So, after you did your first deal, I mean, like, what next? Like, how'd you continue going on in real estate?
I mean, again, I completely just cut off all my options, like burnt the ships. There was nothing else. I handed in my letter of resignation. My boss fired me. So I actually started an LLC like the same night that I was at this Learning Annex Real Estate Wealth Expo in like November 2004. And if you got nothing to do all day and all night except focus on yourself and your business, I found out that I could collect unemployment as long as when my LLC made money, I didn't pay myself. So I was able to live off of that. And I read a ton of books. Another one I read was like The Art of the Deal by Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I don't remember how many chapters it is, but what I do remember is like, let's say it's 12 or 15. Every one of them is a multi-million, if not billion-dollar deal that all chronologically overlap themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So before I even completed my first assignment of contract, I already bought or had deeds and contracts on 3 more. So it was just waiting for the dominoes to fall.
Yeah, no, that's actually a great thing you mentioned, because like a lot of people when they get started, including myself, I held on to that one deal. I was like super excited. I worked on that one, and then I flipped it and it's like, crap, I need to buy another now, instead of like keeping that machine just going.
Yeah, you gotta like literally crank up that buying machine and like never turn it off. And I mean, I was pretty fortunate too, where like I found out about this company called Pat Live pretty early on. We actually we worked out like a discount for a bunch of our people. It's just for like newbies, so instead of us getting paid, we can give it to them at a discount. But it's a virtual assistant company, so if you're working while you're trying to do this, which didn't work for me, or if you're meeting with a seller, they'll actually pick up the phone and they'll ask all the tough questions for you. What's your name? What's your phone number? Why are you moving? What do you owe? What are you asking? What's it worth? And you actually start to build a database, because in the beginning, when you're talking to all these sellers, I mean, your job is, it's nothing more but collecting and retaining information and the fortunes and the follow-up. And I mean, for my first couple of years of business, I'd literally just wake up every Saturday morning after I shut off the hangover and just call back sellers and mail them all a phone, mail them all a postcard. And I mean, Christ, I even started texting them because texting was invented in 2004. I remember my first text was like, can't answer the phone right now at work, but yes, we're still going to buy the house. I'm like, my phone is talking to me. What is this? And I was showing people, I was actually in a real estate seminar. I don't get it, my Nokia's got words.
That's crazy. Oh my God.
Then I started sexting.
That's like the Plenty of Fish era.
Yeah, don't even get me started. It's all marketing.
So you're basically become a master marketer in the end. Just keeping that wheel, that constant flow of leads, right? So that one of my let's say friends, he constantly, like, we would go and look at deals, and basically he would stay on that one deal, right, for maybe a month or so, and I've already moved on mentally and everything else, and he would stay on that one deal. You know, if we could only get a little cheaper, if we could do this, do that. I'm like, hey, let's move on to the next deal. Let's try to find the next one, because if this one doesn't work out, it's not really a deal. So let's move on and go to the next deal, you know. But he would stay on it and on it, and to this day, he still hasn't done a deal yet, you know. And I met him I would say about 3 years now, and you know, I've done, like, we do like what, 10, 12 deals a year, and he still has done 0, you know.
This guy's a personal friend of yours?
I actually met him at a real estate meetup. He did become a private lender, but you know, he still wants to get a deal, not just as a private lender, but you know, as like a JV partner on a deal, whatever.
I mean, as long as he can handle the truth, challenge accepted, you can give him my number.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be nice to him.
Yeah. No, I've already told him, like, hey, move on, you know, like, I've already told him, like, hey, don't harp on the one deal. If it's not a deal, move on, you know, look for the next one. Just keep that ball rolling, like I'm saying.
I mean, the fortune's in the follow-up, but yeah, you can't just sit there and stare at
And follow up at the one thing.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've had people sit here and cry about, like, why can't they just lower the price? And meanwhile, twice a week, we've got boardroom meetings with my entire team where we break it down and we go over the 30, 40, 50 deals that we actually own or have under contract. Move the ball forward one step on each one as far as we can until they keep closing.
Yeah.
And then we review the rental portfolio, and then after that, we go over all the leads and the follow-up. And did we touch this person? And that's it. I mean, it's just making them come after you, and that's part of why we work with distressed sellers, because like Mick Jagger says, time is on my side. Eventually, it just works out.
So you touched up on a lot of different things that I actually want to bring to light. The first is, from that first deal to now, like what do you do now exactly, and what's your favorite type of? Because I know you're a creative real estate guy. I mean, your club is the creative real estate club. Right? I think I'm saying it right?
I think you're saying it right.
Okay. So, like, what do you do now? Is the general question.
I mean, I pretend to be busy so everybody else keeps working and leaves me alone. But, I don't know, I mean, we've got the tagline, "When you're stuck, call Chuck," and literally my second deal after my first one was given to me by 2 real estate lawyers that told me it was an impossible short sale, and like the banks would not negotiate on it, and they'd strung these people along for close to like 2 years. So I went and I got the house under contract, and I got a deed, and I mean, it was a train wreck because there was possibly 5 sellers. It was like a family, so I had to get like 18 deeds and every possible combination signed and a bunch of crazy shit. And then I called a random realtor in Teaneck, and I was like, I need a CMA report, and I looked at the CMA. I remember telling the realtor, like, so it'll sell at this? And they're like, well, maybe a little bit less, but yeah. And it wasn't a short sale. There was like literally close to $100,000 in equity in the deal.
Oh, wow.
So I did something fucking revolutionary that these lawyers hadn't tried. I put a sign in the front yard.
Your sale?
Yeah, and then people just fought over it. And like, literally my first deal hadn't closed by the time I'd sold my second. I didn't have money for gas, and one of the people actually drove to me with a binder. And it was pre-foreclosure. We'd used 2 extensions. I was like, Christ, it's not going to happen. And it's, nobody's better when their back's against the wall. I started learning, and we found out about this thing called an emergent motion, which is like a seldom used third extension. Basically, you grab the seller and you go in front of the judge and you bring the buyer and you fucking beg. And they take the gavel. Sorry, the gavel's in the next room. They bang it on the table and they go emergent motion. They grant you 2 more weeks. You make sure that loan gets written, and you walk with like 80 grand because you don't want to sell it exactly for what it's worth. Unless you'd be a realtor.
Right. That's pretty cool. I've actually heard of, not the actual term, but I've heard people tell me to bring the seller to court and do that. It's actually probably one of your later on disciples.
I remember him sitting through that class. He was actually in the front row, and that was like only a couple of years after we did that deal.
Yeah.
It's weird. I've got one of those memories where I could like lay out where everybody was. But no, it works, and we probably, before COVID-19 at least, and before the fact that everybody realized that there's actually like a federal moratorium on evictions, we probably do 1 or 2 emergent motions a month. And if we still need time after that, and there's enough debt, we'll go and we'll actually pay for people's bankruptcies. And we may not be able to necessarily pay the house off, but a lot of these banks now will negotiate short sales while people are in bankruptcy. So we take them there, pay for it, and get her done.
The other question I wanted to ask you was, how big is your team? How many guys or girls you have on your team right now?
Wow, that's a good question. Got a bunch of teams that do a bunch of things.
Yeah.
So if we're talking just strictly real estate, I've got Linton who does my short sales. I've got Pete who does my numbers. He's my consigliere. We've got a bookkeeper, and we've got Gabby who does short sales with Linton. She also runs our CRM because we actually had to have one built out. We hired a guy to come actually here for a year and just shadow us, and they built out Podio specifically for our business. So she operates that, and we've got Dominic, our property manager. So that's like the core 5 that meets twice a week.
Okay.
And then outside of that, I mean, we've got a team for the internet and YouTube and everything else, and some other projects. I mean, all the way through to like, got a team of people that works on my scholarship fund. Giving money away is a pain in the ass, dude. A lot of reading.
That's crazy. What other things are you involved in now?
Oh Christ, how much time you got, John?
I've got plenty.
We've got some
And
time.
we're just talking like business-wise.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
So we just put together a hedge fund, which has kind of been like one of my bucket list things. And I mean, there's a lot of reading, and we've got Pete here who helps me out a lot with it. And he's obsessed with this cryptocurrency stuff, which, it's like the stock market to me. It's educated gambling. And I know a lot about Regulation D private placement memorandums. We've attempted them in the past. We've been a train wreck, and we really started reading into it and learning, and we found out about this thing called, I think it's a 3C1 fund or a C13 fund. I should know this because we own one now. And we went out and we dropped an ass load of money on attorneys, and basically instead of taking money from private investors and doing a deal, and I'd always rather do that than use a hard money guy because, well, sorry, my bicep is spazzing out. I'd rather give John the interest of somebody that I care about instead of Wells Fargo or, sorry, hard money bankers. Love you guys though. Thanks for the credit line. One day I promise I'll use it. Those guys are really cool, by the way. If you want to interview them.
Yeah,
But
they are.
instead, what we're allowed to do, because I'm sophisticated and accredited, which is, nobody tells you this is the reason why you want to get rich. Nobody tells you this is the reason that you want to get rich. We have another team that put this together, and there are a couple of these like trading geeks, internet guys. The one guy's father is actually the cyber architect that invented Venmo.
Wow.
Right? But believe it or not, Joe, they don't have personal skills. They can't talk to people and tell people about this thing or whatever. So for the last 4 years, they've only been able to raise $500,000, but they got a 4-year track record where on a good year they make 1% a day, and on a bad year,
1% a day is really good.
on a bad year they'll make 30, 40, 50, something in that ballpark. So then we set a high water mark to where what we actually do is we'll give our investors minimally 10% annually, and they don't actually invest in cryptocurrency. And I'm going to screw this up a little bit because I'm still learning too. You probably could help me out with this. There's something on the books. It's a law called like KYC, like Know Your Client.
Yeah.
And Ing Bank or Chase Manhattan or any of these people will not use their money to float a transaction because they could be laundering money for Al-Qaeda or Pablo Escobar or something like that. So instead we bring in all of our people and we actually float money to the bank, and when cryptocurrency is selling at 6 and somebody wants to buy it at 6, it's really selling at a little bit over 5, but because we float the transaction for a few seconds, we make the spread. So when I don't have the money deployed into real estate, and our target for the next 3 months is $5 million, it's earning money doing this market making thing. And they actually built this out, this really cool like black box system where it's completely automated, and there's a portal where the investors can log in. There's like a 6-month lockup, and they can then take their dividends after that quarterly or leave it in and reinvest it. And it's a baby hedge fund. It's like a hedge fund with training wheels on it.
Yeah.
But I've seen the numbers. It works. We've already started raising money, and I mean we got like $500,000 pledged to us so far, but we can't even give the checks yet because the lawyers have to give us the final hurrah, which I think is Thursday. So that's cool.
Wow,
And,
congrats.
not yet. Let's not start sucking each other's dicks. It still has to work, but if it works and you guys have something really cheap and you need the money, we can stroke the check. And I mean, we need to make a return too, but we've got the deal flow through everything. So quarantine has been interesting.
Yeah.
And we got
I
the
must
YouTube
say.
channel.
Yeah, I've been seeing that. That's been growing phenomenally.
That's Elvis. Yeah, he's the brains of the operation. And I mean, again, it's another team. I don't want any of these people to know this, but I actually have no talent. There's nothing I'm good at. I just put groups of people together and they do shit.
Well, you're the master puppeteer,
Well,
Like,
I don't know if that's a good word, but yeah.
It's a little Godfather-esque.
Yes.
But,
No,
I mean, I'm good at solving problems and I'm good at talking to people. And other than that,
And building teams out.
yeah.
as we witnessed earlier, I'm also really good at like misspelling my own name and the name of your podcast.
I mean, one big thing, all these newbies should be listening about all this is that, you have to just hone in on what your skills are and work on that. Because like as Chuck was saying, like, he can't spell, he doesn't do math well, but he's been extremely successful in real estate and extremely successful in several different areas because he knows his skill set.
And I'm just not afraid to fail. I mean, Christ, it's been a habit. If you fail forward fast, and sometimes I go and I talk to different people at these real estate clubs, and it's like, oh no, he did a bad deal, he did this, he did that. And then in 2006, I actually got contracted to speak on stage by the Learning Annex with Donald Trump.
Oh, wow.
Because I bought up a whole bunch of airtime on Bloomberg Radio. And then I made a radio commercial spending $40,000 a month that sounded exactly like the Trump University commercial. And I got Pat Live to answer my calls and take the credit cards. And when I said no to speaking with them because they kept like 97% of your profits.
Oh, wow.
I'm still proud of it. We should frame that somewhere. I said no to the fucking president at the time. But just looked at it and trying to figure out in 42 where the hell's the story going. It literally was like, no. I got a cease and desist letter from Michael Bloomberg that I couldn't play my commercial because I bought up all the spots after the Trump University commercial. I'm like, holy shit, I just pissed off 2 billionaires. They know my name. Like, this is fucking real, dude. I mean, that's it. It's like just, dude, the only thing that and I actually learned this like directly from the dude. The only thing that Donald Trump is actually in the Guinness Book of World Records for is, does anybody know?
Most bankruptcies in businesses?
The largest financial recovery in history.
Oh, okay.
That's it. The dude's a billionaire and he's failed more than anybody.
Yeah.
And I've been in a few rooms with him and I've heard him explain to people where he's like, yeah, I'm walking down the street with Ivana and I'm like, you see that homeless dude over there?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say he's worth nothing. Like, I'm worth $146 billion less than him. And you just start to realize, like, this is a game. You just gotta play it with balls like it's a board game, and it's a game in real life. Money is not real. It's a system of control that was thrust upon us, like after religion was failing. Like, oh, let's try economics to control these peasants. And you just gotta really step out of your comfort zone, make a huge mess, clean it up, and make a bigger mess.
Yeah, it's almost like, how can we amass the most amount of debt, because that debt is going to make us money.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like,
You can literally borrow your way to financial freedom. It's
Yeah.
insane.
yeah, exactly.
crazy.
Even to this day, for the most part, I haven't used any of my own actual money. Again, for the most part. Maybe altogether I've put in like 30, 40K. But yeah, like, it's crazy when you really think about it. People are like, oh, I don't have time, I don't have money. And I'm just like, these are all excuses people have when, you could just get this done. And like, going back to Donald Trump's, The Art of the Deal, the one big thing that caught my attention about that book was, I forget, it was like some deal that he was trying to get financing for from some bank. And like, it was, I think, Atlantic City. He told the people in the construction crews to just drive dumping the trucks around everywhere, dump it from here to there, and then back, do it again. And then these people come in, the investors, and they're like,
They're busy.
yeah, they're busy. They're gonna get this done whether you give them the money or not. And it's
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. You read a lot about it. Like, I remember being in the Jacob Javits Center listening to him, knowing that was his first transaction, and he did it with nothing down.
yeah,
And I'm like, wow, okay. That's some pretty interesting stuff right there.
Yeah, that's big.
that's why I went. Like, when I see these apartment buildings, which is now like one of my big goals, it's like, okay, how can I get this with no money or, like, leverage somehow?
I mean, we've got one now that I've been chasing for 7 years. It's 32 units on Route 46, and literally just now the guy started chasing me. Where it's like, we're getting our ass kicked, it's been vacant for a long time, you're the only one who's consistently followed up with us, that means something. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm busy, so you're gonna have to come here. And he's running the numbers, we're getting all the information, and it looks like we're gonna get it for, I think it's owner finance for like 600,000 or 700,000, and then we got to come up with another 3 or 4. And initially he offered it to us for like 1.5 million, then it came down to 1.2 and 1.1. It's just because we're doing well with other stuff, we've actually been kind of ignoring the dude. Kind of like when you're ignoring one chick to talk to another, and they really want your attention.
Right.
Which wasn't even our intention, and it's working, so it's pretty cool stuff.
No, it's a good problem to have. Like, I know this 19 units in Texas, the number they wanted at first was like 3.2, and then like just talking to the owner, I'm just like, yeah, that's way too high. He's like, oh, I could come down to 2.8. Like, he just keeps going down and lower, and like, I even told him, like, alright, I think the best I could do is like 2.3. He's like 2.4 and we could sign a contract. So then I was just like, yeah, you know what, in my mind, like, I ignored the dude, and like, he shot me another email just a little while ago, like, hey, are you still interested? I could do the 2.3.
See, the only thing that scares me about that is like, if I had to think about bad experiences that I've had, it always seems to be when the deals are not within like what I like to call choking distance.
Yeah.
To where it's like, oh, there's a problem? Really? Because I can just show up and
Yeah.
we can talk about it.
Well, that's kind of why, like, I still haven't answered. Like, he asked me that maybe like a week ago, and he emailed me again today about it.
Maybe you can move the building to New Jersey. I don't know. I don't know much about Texas, but
Well, one of my buddies lives near there, so, like, one of my best friends, and he would be part of the deal.
if you got boots on the ground, somebody you can trust to manage it,
Yeah.
go for it.
Yeah, throw a few dollars in it.
So Chuck, what's your favorite form of purchasing real estate, or like your strategy?
So I kind of do this like bass backwards, to where we just market to distressed sellers, and more often than not, I don't even know what the hell kind of deal I'm getting into until I've actually got it. You know, we ask them all the questions, get all their contact information, asking worth, go out and look at the houses. I have no idea what I'm looking at. I don't care. And all I'm looking for is that seller's compliance, and I leave them with, look, if what you told me is true, I believe I can help you out. I mean, there's literally nothing you can't work with as long as the seller agrees to work with you. So maybe it's an assignment, maybe it's a subject to, maybe it's a short sale, maybe it's something that we don't talk about all the time, maybe it's a rental, but I mean, my favorite way to purchase real estate is like my favorite way to pick up chicks. I like it when they come to me. And it's like shooting fish in a barrel, and the barrel's full of fish. You know? I mean, my dad told me a long time ago, don't give it away. Make them work for it. And it's posturing, and it works out a lot better. And everybody in the world is taught to look at deals and analyze them, and nobody's working with the niche of people that just walk away. That's our strong suit.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely different.
Nobody else is doing it, and there ain't no competition.
So what, you go for like pre-foreclosures just for the most part then?
I mean, we do a lot of marketing. They're like list penance lists.
Okay.
Where we'll do mailers, or we have this lead Sherpa program where like we got kids in the office that work it, and there's like 10 numbers so it doesn't come up as spam, and everybody tries to use it, says it doesn't work because they're texting 10 million people that want to buy your house. You know, I got 18, 19-year-old kids going, hey, how are you? Who's this? And the goal is nothing more but to engage them in a conversation, and then before you know it, you've got some form of rapport. They get me on the phone or one of the other trained killers in the office. And just like dating, like once I'm in front of you, you just don't stand a chance. So if it can be done, that's it. It's just a bump set spike kind of thing. And we do a lot of shotgun marketing as well, just like you guys. Matter of fact, I just bought a car, just like you. I got to get lettering put on it. If you got a lettering guy, that would really help me out.
Yeah, I can send it to you.
Buying another one. And we've done the billboards, ads in the paper, websites, and it's not always pre-foreclosure, but it's always some form of distress.
Yes.
Which that's actually how we came up with the name of the first company, like Salvation Home Buyers. What do people in distress look for?
Salvation. Yeah.
We've done a lot with different church groups to where nobody ever tries this, but you go, you put an ad in their bulletin, and you buy something, and you take 5-10% of the deal, and you go back to the pastor or whoever's in charge of the church. You know, what's it, not the sergeant at arms, person that keeps track of the money, and you give them a $5,000 donation, and you're not going to believe what comes back.
Yeah, you know,
confession, these people told me they were losing their houses, and wow.
It's kind of funny you said that, because in my construction business, I used to get tons of leads, and not only just leads, but clients from the church I used to go to. You know, the pastor actually moved out to Texas. But you know, he used to bring a lot of leads to me, you know, clients, because, you know, who do you trust, right? You're going to trust your pastor.
Yeah, you look within.
Right? So, and if, you know, a pastor says, Joey's good guy, he did my kitchen. Who are you gonna call? You're gonna call Joey.
Yeah.
So-
Ghostbusters will call you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's not an idea. It works.
It works, right?
My man Joe over here has experienced it.
It was bad. We didn't rehearse it, so.
It's all right.
Why would we? It's just keeping fucking real.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Oh, we got Joe cursing? Wow, this is crazy.
oh my God, that's funny. So in terms of what is your favorite strategy that you like to do? In terms of like getting the actual deal done that you have done. Like, is it subject to? Is it?
I mean, there's no real favorite. It's once you learn a new strategy, a new document, a new this, a new that, there's more moving parts than anybody can possibly comprehend.
Right.
Like, I get excited when my team can't figure out a deal, and it's something completely new. Where you're like, wow, look at that. I had no idea that we could, buy properties from people and put them in trusts, or somebody who's got to get Medicaid before Medicaid actually does the title search and actually help them preserve their equity and turn around and make some money on it too. And I just like the ones that are new, different, and exciting. And I feel like I'm at the point where books just don't really cut it anymore, because so many people are just teaching and writing just to teach and write, and there's only room for like so many Robert Kiyosaki's.
Yeah.
And when everybody else is running away from a deal, it's usually like, all right, I'll impossible. I'll take a look at that. Yeah, I mean, if you ask the people in my office, they'll tell you they do all the difficult stuff. All I want is the impossible. And I've been saying it for years. I mean, if you're saying favorite in terms of what we've done the most of,
Yeah.
I don't even know. I have to go look back through the numbers. I mean, we're like over 1,000 deals since 2004.
Wow.
So it's somewhere between assignment, subject to, cash, weird combinations of things,
Yeah.
all different kinds of hybrid, short sales.
So that actually.
I even get foreclosed on sometimes, just in name and name only, because we just like to get the postcards from all the other investors out there that are really players, and even though you lose a couple bucks, we make more off everybody's marketing to us because I start selling you guys houses. It's great because you still got good credit, and then you go to one of these real estate networking clubs and the people are looking at the list going, Chuck's in foreclosure like 9 times, and you throw your fucking black card on the bar, and they can't figure it out. So they're going,
That's unique.
Wow. No, that's just interesting. I didn't even like really think about it like that.
you should try it. Learn everything.
Yeah.
Get
No.
foreclosed on, I highly recommend it. It's a great experience. You actually learn to like view it from the other side. And try to
Actually,
emotionalize it a little bit. instead of
Matt Mironoff mentioned that to me once too, like because he did that for his own personal residence or something.
Yeah, Matt and I have known each other since 2004. It goes way back, and Christ, I remember when I started teaching, and it was pretty wild. Like, Matt's signs were actually in front of houses in better neighborhoods and better deals than what I could get. And I was like, how is this possible? And we used to talk on the phone like all the time, and he had like his assistant and his mom, and like. Then I realized like Matt was actually putting signs in front of the houses just to get a commission off the mortgage from his brother's mortgage company. And I was like, motherfucker, you're not exactly doing this right. And he took a class that we taught, and Matt took short sales and ran with it in our time together, and he wound up a lot better at it than I was. And, I mean, the 2 guys that learned it, it was him and Winton at the same time. And then when the time came that we started like disbanding everything, so I was teaching, it just got too big. Like, we had a handbook, we had rules, we had boardroom meetings with like 30 to 60 people, you know, everybody's names, we had dress code, drug tested everybody, I'm the only one that failed. And, we gave everybody a chance to get out. You guys want to leave? And Matt just raised his hand like a man and said, I wanted to go out on my own. And I've had a lot of guys do this before too. And he did. And I consider him a friend till this day. He's an awesome guy. I love that dude. I don't have a fucking bad word to say about him. He's a little abrasive, but hey, I guess I could be too.
Well, that's kind of the hallmarks of a leader sometimes.
I still have his testimonial. It's fucking cool.
Nice.
Okay.
So that actually brings me to my next question here. What's do you have a crazy story about some deal? Because
I bet you have plenty.
yeah. Well, what's
I bet you have
the
plenty.
best or craziest or most difficult deal you've ever dealt with? And if you don't mind giving a little bit details about it.
Christ, I don't even know where to start. Wow. Can you elaborate on the crazy?
I mean, it could be the sellers themselves, it could be the situation, it could be the combination of multiple things you had to do together to get it done, the length of how long it took because of X, Y, and Z, or...
I mean, it's funny, I used to ask people all the time, when I got started, how many deals have you done?
Yeah.
And I would wait for that hesitation where they'd be 3 or 4. I'd be like, motherfucker, 3 or 4? You haven't done one, have you? I know exactly how many. And then at some point, when you start getting up into the triple digits, you just lose count, and you try to discharge that shit from your mind as quickly as possible. I'm trying to think of a good, unique one that we haven't talked about. I did one in Jersey City on Jewett Ave that led to 2, and it was an illegal 3-family, and I got a call from a girl who was also a stripper. Found that out later. And she had used her credit card and won it against somebody's credit card terminal to get the down payment to get her money to purchase the property. And then her credit went to shit, and she loaded the house up with just a bunch of fucking Section 8 scumbag junkies. And I was like, great, how do I clean this place out? And I put it under contract, and I did buy it subject to as well. And I started literally having somebody read me all the Section 8 laws, and if you provide a contract to Section 8, and that's how you demonstrate intent to own or occupy something, then Section 8 actually moves them out really quickly. I think it was 30 to 60 days. And I got it done even quicker because when I was talking to one of the tenants, I found out that the tenants underneath them were beating the crap out of their kids. So that was just a quick call to DIFUS, and they were out almost immediately, and I mean that really worked out. And then I did a rent to own, since it was subject to a Dominican family, and it was a really nice happy story in the end where grandma and grandpa were upstairs, and the uncle lived in the basement, and mom, dad, and the kids were on the first floor. And they kind of all lived together, and they paid me, and I paid the mortgage, and they paid me, and they paid the mortgage, and we got cashed out, and I made I don't know, somewhere in the 70s. I think I was into it for maybe $1,400 in repairs, and before you know it, I got a call from the neighbor next door telling me, can you buy my house? And I was like, holy shit, yeah, I can. I already have the buyer's list. And I just went down this buyer's list that Pat Life provided me with 200 people on it, and there was a lot of people. Do you have something a little cheaper, maybe a fixer-upper, and still the picture would have this one, then this one. And that one worked out too, and I probably picked up another 70 after that, and did a couple more, and this is my 3rd year in business, and I'm 27, and it's April, May, and I made almost $300 grand from a bedroom in my parents' house, which made me proceed to just have a fucking rock star breakdown and take the rest of the year off. And a couple of years later, I actually got married to my first ex-wife, the prosecutor. You can't make this shit up. And we literally rented out a strip club, and I went in and with 60 of my closest friends, and all of a sudden the bartender just runs over and jumps on me with arms and legs. He's like, oh my God, Jay. There was how the fuck do you know her? I bailed her out of foreclosure, and it was a party. Is that crazy enough, or like you want me to just get into like bodies and shit?
Oh, wow.
No, I love it.
I mean, it was, and then I got married like literally a couple years later, and this girl still remembered. And man, did she remember?
Wow.
I'm gonna ask you off camera to answer the
You
question.
can ask me right now.
No.
I mean,
I'm just at a loss for words.
Yeah.
I really don't know what to say. Actually, I do. Just going back to like the actual newbies that are watching the podcast and everything, or listening. Can you explain what subject 2 is?
yeah, it's before subject 1 and after subject 3. No, but seriously, folks. So, if you're going to buy a house, subject 2, it is the simplest way that I've been able to explain it to lawyers and smart people who can't seem to grasp the concept is, John and Joey, you guys have both bought houses with mortgages, either private
Yes.
or...
Yes.
And subject to, yeah.
Okay, so once you purchase a property, let's say you go and you take out a mortgage from Wells Fargo, you may then transfer ownership into an LLC to take your name off the deed, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that mortgage is still outstanding and it's still in your name, and you're still liable for it. So if you don't make payments on that mortgage, your credit goes to shit. But if you do, your credit stays good. However, the LLC has no ties directly to the mortgage. It only owns the property.
Right.
Now, I'm not sure if that's exactly legal or illegal, but lawyers do it all the time. I mean, the right way to actually do it, if you really start digesting law, and I've been through a lot of law school classes, though I don't have a degree. I've also worked for title companies, lawyers, mortgage companies, all kinds of shit for free for years just to learn, is that by taking property subject to its existing debt, which would be the mortgage on it, and then putting it into a land trust, it's actually accepted that that land trust is for estate planning purposes, and nobody knows who the beneficiary of that trust is, so the mortgage company actually accepts it as one of the only transfers that's friendly, when in reality, as long as the payments are being made, they're not going to call the loan due. And if the property's in foreclosure or behind on payments and you take it subject to, well, guess what? You can't make the people in more or in even more foreclosure or however you say it.
Right.
Can't make the situation any worse.
Yeah.
You can only make it better. So somebody's got a mortgage, they deed the property over to you, the mortgage stays in their name, and then later, if you sell it, somebody takes out a new mortgage and pays it off, and there's a new deed, and we got a diagram we can give you that you can attach to this if it helps.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. So it's just
Foreclosure.
yes, and more foreclosure, or
You guys keep that.
yes.
Yeah. I tend to add that to the end, of any subject. So, any good books, podcasts, or audio books, shows, whatever, that you recommend to, or that you like? Forget about recommending, that you like.
I definitely would have to say, like, number one is going to be Think and Grow Rich, just because it's like the whole mindset and not being afraid to fail. And when I think of like all my heroes in business and finance, like every one of them has been through epic disasters that have been larger than mine. And like, I mean, I filed bankruptcy for like $5 million. Well, I lost $5 million. I paid a lot of it back. I filed bankruptcy for like 1.8. And I go to lenders now, and they're like, "You filed bankruptcy?" And they're like, "For how much?" And I tell them like 1.8 million. They're like, "Oh, thank God! We thought it was going to be like 50, like something with a credit card." No, you're actually a player. And there's some crazy statistic out there, like 70% of the people that have black cards have actually filed bankruptcy.
Oh wow.
They're
Oh,
just,
jeez.
I mean, you just got to be not afraid to cowboy up and get your fucking ass kicked and just lead. And I mean, I got a lot of that from Think and Grow Rich. I mean, there's some train wreck stories there where like, you haven't spent any of your own money. Well, why not, man? Step on the gas. Start this, fucking go for it. You only get to do this once. There are no dress rehearsals, and like, literally everybody that I've looked up to in business has been through worse shit than I have. I can't wait to go through worse shit myself. And you keep learning from it. And other books other than that, check out Sex at Dawn. It has nothing to do with real estate, but it has everything to do with like human sexuality and why we do this shit. And like, honest to God, you'd like it. And I mean, I read it once and like literally have 2 kids now because of it. His name is even Dawn. It's pretty wild, but it'll tell you why men do this shit and attract and like it's pretty wild. I mean,
just understand
everything. It elaborates on the whole Think and Grow Rich, where successful men are like a highly sexed nature, and it just breaks it down. And has nothing to do with investing, but trust me, you make enough money, bitches are gonna be a problem.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I've always thought of that. If I were not in a relationship, or this one doesn't work out,
Yeah, dude, you gotta be careful and like, not even showing the list, like if you have social media and you're in a relationship, and like, my girlfriend took a break today from social media so she could study for the NCLEX, and didn't tell me. I'm like, what the, you have to let me know this shit. Because all of a sudden it's like your inbox is just like boom, boom, boom. Is everything okay? Is everything okay? Is everything okay? You can't keep up with it. It's like, honestly, if you're married and you have a big following and do whatever, you just switch it to divorce. But before you do that, you better be doing fucking cardio for like 6 months because you can't keep up. And like, I'm talking to you as somebody that's been like the #2 bodybuilder in the nation, and like for some reason business and money seems to bring him in more, and it's a real fucking problem. It's not something that a lot of people talk about, and it is terrifying. I gave you my system before.
Okay.
Be careful, and at work or at play, be cool, wrap your tool.
yes.
By the way, love you, baby.
So, I guess one of my last questions, what's the best piece of advice you'd give to someone who's just getting started?
So a lot of people are going to hate me for saying this, but like, if this is something that you really, truly want, and you think you found yourself with it, and you want to commit, and go for it, and like you're willing to pull out all the stops and just put yourself through the hell that I went through, and I don't know many people who were able to do this. Step 1, quit your fucking job and just go hard. And I mean, no safety net. I don't think I slept much in my first 20 days. Dude, I remember my first closing. It was like, I woke up that morning. I've only heard stories. I've been in all these different real estate clubs. Heard of somebody doing a nothing down transaction. I remember 20 days into it, I woke up. I remember I went to the bathroom. I looked in the mirror and I threw up. I brushed my teeth, and then I literally drove from my parents' house to Hackensack, really close to this office. I got out of the car, and I threw up again. This is serious, I'm not making it up. And I remember I walked into this law office, I walked into the boardroom, and there's my sellers, and here's my buyers, and here's 2 lawyers, and here's a settlement agent. I was like, I need a minute, and I ran to the bathroom, and I barfed again. And I got all these people with the goods, and everybody going, good luck, we've never seen this done before, we've never seen anybody do this. And then the whole thing like just unfolded in front of me. I had no idea what the hell was happening, and they gave me a check for like 20,000 something. And like this huge weight was just lifted, and like I couldn't figure out what I was barfing about. I was like, wow, so if I can do this, all I have to do is just repeat it. And I remember just like, holy fuck, I found myself. Like, this is it. This is me. I love this. It was painful, and I mean, I've taken huge chunks of time off. I've got like nothing left on my bucket list, and I keep coming back to this because I'm not just good at it. Fuck, I'm the best. And I've got lawyers that said I can say that.
Nice.
So, step 1, if you really want it, if you think it's you really got to do some soul searching. Quit.
Yeah. No, it's funny you bring that up because...
Burn the ships.
Yes. No, it's funny you bring that up because I feel like I sort of did that when I got into real estate, or at least got serious about real estate, because like my wife at the time wanted a divorce, and she was like my safety net with her W-2 income. So then from there, I had to say, shit, do I go full-time into some corporate job, have my Columbia degree, do that fancy stuff, or do I go all in on real estate? And I chose to go all in. So.
You know how many degrees a rectal thermometer is? And you know where that goes. It's a tremendous commitment. No regrets, right?
Yeah, no, none.
There will be pain. There will be suffering. You will go through shit you've never even imagined. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, do you want a safe life or do you want an authentic one? And I just can't stand trading in my life for a couple bucks an hour on my worst fucking day. My worst day, and I've had some bad fucking days, right?
Mm-hmm.
I still work for myself. Granted, my boss is an asshole. I still work for myself.
That's awesome. So Chuck, how can people find you on social media, online? Well,
How can people reach you? Yeah.
So I mean, you can look me up on Facebook. It's really easy. There's a Chuck Kohout is my Facebook, and we've got the Creative Real Estate Club. That's right over there if you need it. We've also got a website, which is it's alwaysbeclosingllc.com. We've actually got the course that probably most of your friends have learned from. My bicep keeps spazzing out. Sorry, I tore it off a while ago. But if you go on there, we've actually got the course that we've sold thousands and thousands of for $2,000 for $90. It's an audio version. We've got actually people in the office right now closing deals off of it, so that's kind of cool. And we're working on putting it back together, so we'll have a video thing, and it'll be neat. And you can check out Chuck Kohout, my name, on YouTube. By the way, thanks for subscribing. We'll help you guys co-promote this stuff, and I've been watching it for a while. I'd love to help you grow and be friends. And I don't know, what am I missing, Elvis?
It's pretty much over.
Yeah, it's Creative Real Estate Club. If you guys want to post in there, check it out. And
yep. I can't post in groups right now.
yeah, I got banned from that too. That's why I have a second Facebook profile.
Yeah. So July 13th is my get out of jail.
Yeah.
On Facebook.
We got Instagram too. Same thing.
Yep.
I think you were back for 2 days and then you got banned again. Chuck?
Yeah, I don't know.
It was about 2 days and then you got banned immediately after. I don't even remember when it was.
I'm not going to let them stop me.
Yeah.
That's right. And I mean, that's really it. You will go through some shit, and success is not the end. Failure is not final. The only thing that matters is the courage to continue. So just keep pressing forward.
Yeah,
I love
definitely.
It. Great advice. So don't forget, like and subscribe to the podcast and video.
Smash that like button.
There you
Yes. So take care, everyone.
go. Thank you.
Bye for now.